In the silent vastness of space, where the cold darkness is punctuated only by distant stars and the echo of ancient battles, the warship Aurora's Vengeance drifted through the cosmic void like a relic of a forgotten era. Captain Orion Blackwood stood on the bridge, his eyes scanning the endless panorama of ruined space stations and derelict satellites. Each fragment of metal and every abandoned outpost whispered stories of glory and despair, stories that weighed heavily on his soul. The bridge, bathed in a soft, ambient glow from instrument panels and scattered starlight, was both his command center and his sanctuary. Here, amid the hum of advanced technology and the quiet beeping of systems long accustomed to battle, Orion found himself reflecting on a past filled with regret and resolute determination. Memories of youthful ambition and the bitter taste of defeat mingled together, each a reminder of the cost of leadership in a galaxy ravaged by war. He recalled the days when the Aurora's Vengeance was a symbol of hope, a beacon for humanity amid the sprawling chaos of interstellar conflict. In the earlier years, his warship had been the pride of the fleet, its sleek lines and formidable armaments inspiring confidence in every crew member. But time had eroded that once shining facade, leaving behind the scars of countless skirmishes and the heavy burden of decisions that no one could unmake. As he wandered along the narrow corridors of the ship, the metallic walls echoing with the footsteps of memories past, Orion's mind wandered to the faces of those he had lost. His reflections were not marred by bitterness, but by a profound sense of responsibility. Each loss had carved deep grooves in his heart, forging him into the hardened leader he was today, a man willing to confront his personal demons head-on, even as he steered humanity toward a future on the brink of oblivion. Down on the bridge, the crew moved with silent efficiency, their every action a testament to the rigorous discipline and camaraderie that had kept them united in the darkest of times. In their eyes, Orion saw a flicker of the hope that had once ignited the spirit of rebellion against overwhelming odds. He knew that within the cold calculus of survival, a spark of humanity still burned brightly, enough to fuel a last, desperate stand against the encroaching shadows. In that quiet moment, as the starfields rolled by and the ghostly remnants of old battles drifted past the viewport, Captain Orion Blackwood vowed silently to the darkness around him. The scars of the past would be the cornerstone of his resolve. He would honor every sacrifice made, every dream shattered, by forging ahead into an uncertain future, determined to reclaim the legacy of a lost civilization. And so, amid the haunting beauty of a universe scarred by war, the lonely captain embraced his solitude and the weight of his memories, each a silent pledge that the spirit of humanity would endure, no matter how deep the shadows of the past. The tranquility of deep space was abruptly shattered by a piercing alarm that reverberated through the Aurora's Vengeance. Captain Orion Blackwood, who had been lost in thought amidst the lingering echoes of past battles, snapped to attention. The crisp, mechanical voice of the ship's AI announced in urgent tones, "Warning! Unidentified enemy fleet detected approaching critical outpost." On the bridge, the atmosphere shifted in an instant. Crew members exchanged anxious glances as the ambient hum of routine faded into a tense silence. Orion's eyes narrowed, his thoughts racing as he processed the situation. This was no random patrol, it was an orchestrated assault, and the target was one of the last vestiges of human sanctuary. "Report to me immediately, Lieutenant Mara," Orion commanded, his voice steady yet laced with an underlying intensity. "I want full tactical scans on that enemy formation. I need to know their positions and strength." Within seconds, a series of holographic projections sprang to life before him, depicting an armada of sleek, menacing vessels converging on a distant outpost. The images were unsettling, each ship a symbol of the encroaching menace led by Admiral Zoratha's infamous fleet. The outpost, once a beacon of human resilience, now appeared vulnerable against the impending storm of steel and fire. Lieutenant Mara's voice cut through the tension. "Captain, the enemy's formation is too well coordinated. Their strategy suggests this is not just a raid. It's a calculated strike meant to dismantle our defense network in one fell swoop." Her tone was clinical, yet it carried the weight of the impending crisis. Orion's gaze hardened as he surveyed the images. Prepare to engage all defensive systems. I want every available asset on high alert. We cannot let them succeed, not when so many lives depend on us. As the crew hurried to their stations, the ship's corridors buzzed with determined urgency. Orion strode to the command console, his hand hovering over the controls as he considered the next move. The decision was swift and resolute. Set a course for the outpost, he ordered, his voice firm. We're not just protecting a location, we're defending the last flicker of human hope. In the midst of this frenetic mobilization, a young ensign, barely out of training, trembled before his console. Captain, I'm not sure I can handle this, he stammered, his eyes wide with fear. Orion paused, turning to face the ensign. In that brief moment, the captain's weathered features softened. Fear is the first enemy we must conquer, he said, his voice low yet imbued with undeniable authority. I have seen despair before, and I know what it does to a man. But I also know that courage, even in the smallest measure, can defy the darkness. Trust in your training, and trust in us. Together, we are stronger. The reassurance in his words rippled through the ranks. With renewed determination, the crew resumed their tasks, each individual driven by the captain's unwavering resolve. The Aurora's vengeance surged forward, its engines thrumming as if echoing the heartbeat of a beleaguered but unyielding people. Outside, the stars blurred into streaks of light as the warship accelerated toward the outpost. The silent void of space was now filled with the imminent promise of conflict. And as the enemy fleet loomed larger on the view screen, Captain Orion Blackwood steeled himself for the storm that was about to break, knowing that the call to arms was not just a battle cry, but a declaration of humanity's defiant will to survive. The warship Aurora's vengeance sailed through the cosmic night, its path lit only by the soft glow of distant stars and the gentle hum of its engines. In the quiet solitude of the bridge, the atmosphere was thick with anticipation, a calm before the storm, where every whispered thought could shape the fate of an entire civilization. Captain Orion Blackwood convened his senior officers in the tactical chamber, a cramped room alive with the low murmur of urgent voices and the steady tap of data streams on illuminated screens. Holographic maps of enemy positions swirled before them like ghosts dancing in an endless void, each light a harbinger of the approaching threat. Look here, Orion said, pointing at a cluster of enemy vessels converging near the outpost. His finger traced a path that hinted at a hidden strategy, a silent communication within the chaos. Our adversary is not random. They're orchestrating something precise, something designed to fracture our defenses. We must decode their intent. Lieutenant Mara, her eyes reflecting both determination and concern, leaned forward. Captain, the formation suggests a pincer maneuver. They're trying to trap us in a vice of cold logic. Every decision we make now will echo through the corridors of history. Her voice, though soft, carried an undeniable weight, a mix of forewarning and fierce loyalty. Around them, the crew worked in synchrony, their actions a blend of practiced routine and the palpable anxiety of imminent battle. In hushed tones, they exchanged theories and strategies, each idea a thread in the tapestry of resistance. The tactical chamber became a haven of whispered insights, where fragments of data merged with the captain's experience to form a fragile plan of countermeasures. As the discussion deepened, Orion recalled his early days aboard the Aurora's Vengeance, when hope was a tangible force and every mission was a promise of rebirth. Now, each whispered strategy and every silent calculation was imbued with the memory of losses past and the resolve to prevent future ones. His gaze softened momentarily as he remembered his fallen comrades, the brave souls whose voices now echoed in the quiet hum of the ship, urging him to forge ahead. Every star we see out there, Orion murmured, addressing not only his officers but the very soul of the ship, carries the dreams of those who dared to hope. Let our actions honor them. His words, spoken in the stillness of that sacred chamber, resonated deeply with the gathered minds. They were not merely strategizing. They were uniting under a banner of shared legacy and unspoken determination. In a secluded alcove near the navigation console, a junior officer meticulously cross-referenced enemy trajectories with known rebel routes. His fingers danced over the console with quiet urgency, piecing together a puzzle that could mean the difference between salvation and ruin. Each calculation was a secret conversation with the void, a silent communion with the mysteries of space that both frightened and inspired him. The murmurs in the room gradually coalesced into a coherent plan. Orion's voice, steady and commanding, cut through the soft hum of analysis. We will split our assets. Mara, coordinate with the forward defense. Lieutenant Darren, prepare a feint to mislead their flank. Every move must be deliberate, every decision a counter to their next step. His orders, delivered with the precision of a master tactician, set the stage for an intricate dance of strategy and survival. In that profound moment of collective focus, the void outside seemed to whisper back, as if the universe itself was urging them to take the leap of faith into the fray. The crew, united by both fear and an unwavering commitment to each other, braced themselves for the battle that lay ahead. A battle not just against an enemy fleet, but against the encroaching darkness that sought to erase their very existence. As the Aurora's vengeance pressed on through the silent depths, the strategic murmurs within its walls became a resolute symphony of defiance, a promise that even in the vast emptiness of space, hope would find a way to whisper its truth, one secret plan at a time. Far from the beleaguered corridors of the Aurora's vengeance, in the ironclad war room of Admiral Zortha's flagship, the cold light of determination burned in the eyes of the intergalactic tyrant. The chamber was a stark contrast to the intimate strategizing aboard the human warship, a place where every word was measured and every silence, laden with unspoken threat. Holographic screens illuminated the dark expanse around them, each flickering projection a testament to the meticulous cruelty of Zortha's strategy. Zorth, a man forged in the relentless fires of conquest, stood at the helm of his operations. His gauntlet hand moved deftly over a control panel, adjusting the formation of his fleet with the precision of a seasoned master. "Our objective is clear," he intoned, his voice smooth yet imbued with a merciless edge. "We shall sever their lifeline, dismantling their defense before they even grasp the gravity of their peril." His words carried an icy promise, a vow of calculated annihilation that left no room for doubt or remorse. In a shadowed alcove adjacent to the command dais, his lieutenants listened intently. Among them, Commander Sarek, whose steely gaze betrayed a lifetime of loyalty to Zortha's cause, interjected with quiet urgency. "Admiral, the human resistance may yet hold unforeseen resilience. Their captain is known for daring maneuvers." Zortha's eyes narrowed imperceptibly, the flicker of Sarek's concern igniting a silent fury within him. "Every flicker of hope is merely an ember waiting to be extinguished," Zorth replied, his tone laced with cold pragmatism. "We will not allow sentimental weaknesses to dictate the course of this war." With deliberate calm, he turned his focus back to the luminous map before him, where the scattered lights of enemy formations began to converge into patterns of impending doom. As the Admiral plotted the final stages of his strategy, snippets of his past emerged like ghosts in the darkness. Once, in a time before ambition had hardened his heart, he had believed in order, in a universe bound by justice. But that naive hope was swiftly buried beneath layers of betrayal and bloodshed, leaving behind only a steadfast belief in the necessity of control, a belief that now drove him to orchestrate the downfall of those he deemed weak. The war room's atmosphere was electric with tension. Every strategic calculation and each whispered command was a testament to the dark resolve that governed Zortha's every decision. The holograms morphed into a tapestry of impending conflict, charting the routes and vulnerabilities of the human forces with ruthless clarity. Zortha's mind raced, not with doubts, but with a fervor to prove that absolute power was the only language the universe would heed. In a moment of rare vulnerability, Zorth allowed himself a solitary glance at an old, weathered portrait of his younger self, a man who once dreamed of unity rather than conquest. The memory was brief, almost lost amid the clinical focus of his present purpose, yet it served as a silent reminder of the transformation that had led him down this unyielding path. Outside the sanctum of his flagship, the void of space stirred with the tension of converging destinies. As Admiral Zortha's fleet surged forward, Every vessel was a harbinger of inevitable confrontation, a moving piece in a grand design of power and retribution. The darkness outside was not empty, but teeming with the echoes of approaching conflict, resonating with the raw energy of defiance and despair. In that charged moment, where the clashing of wills seemed destined to reshape the very fabric of the cosmos, the stage was set for the ultimate clash between two visions of order, a ruthless quest for control and the fragile, yet unyielding, spark of hope held by a lone human captain. The tension in the dark was palpable, a prelude to a battle that would decide the fate of countless souls adrift in the vast expanse of space. The silence of space exploded into chaos as the enemy's first salvo illuminated the darkness with bursts of plasma and debris. The Aurora's vengeance shuddered under the relentless barrage of Admiral Zorth's forces, its hull groaning as if echoing the pain of a wounded giant. In the heart of this cosmic maelstrom, Captain Orion Blackwood's steady gaze remained fixed on the unfolding spectacle, a dance of destruction that would decide the fate of those who clung to a flicker of hope. On the command deck, alarms blared and holographic battle maps flickered with red warning signals. Every crew member was at their station, their movements a blend of practiced precision and desperate urgency. Lieutenant Mara barked orders into the comms, her voice cutting through the clamor like a laser beam. "Shields up. Divert all power to forward defenses." The crisp command left no room for hesitation. Orion's mind raced through a myriad of tactical maneuvers as he surveyed the enemy formation on the view screen. The adversary's fleet, a grim assembly of dark, angular vessels, swarmed like locusts across the starry void, their coordinated approach a testament to the enemy's ruthless efficiency. Every enemy ship represented not just a piece of metal and fire, but a symbol of the relentless oppression that sought to snuff out humanity's last beacon of resistance. With a resolute nod, the captain issued his countermeasure. Evasive Vector Delta 3. Initiate Decoy Protocol. His voice, calm amid the storm, resonated with the unyielding spirit of a man who had faced defeat before and chosen to rise stronger. As the warship executed a series of daring maneuvers, decoy drones burst from hidden compartments, darting into the void to mislead the enemy's targeting systems. The battle's chaos was punctuated by moments of electrifying silence, a pause where every heartbeat seemed to echo like the toll of a distant bell. In these fleeting seconds, as explosions blossomed like supernovae and shattered fragments of starship metal glinted in the void, the crew found their rhythm amidst the pandemonium. Every calculated shot, every narrowly dodged missile, and every whispered command was a testament to their determination to fight against an almost insurmountable darkness. Amid the barrage, Orion's eyes caught the swift, predatory movements of an enemy cruiser, a vessel with an unmistakable insignia that marked it as a flagship of Admiral Zorth. With a swift command, he ordered his best tactical officer to target the enemy's command node. "Lock onto that cruiser. We strike at its heart and sow chaos in their ranks," he ordered, his tone a blend of urgency and calculated precision. The ensuing moments were a blur of rapid exchanges and high-stakes gambits. Laser fire streaked across the void in brilliant arcs, and the star-speckled backdrop served as a silent witness to the clash of wills. Crew members worked as one organism, some repairing critical systems in the heat of battle, others coordinating fire with split-second accuracy. The cacophony of combat was interwoven with bursts of raw emotion, shouts of defiance, murmurs of determination, and the palpable undercurrent of a shared, desperate hope. Yet, for all the chaos, there was a solemn beauty to the battle, a tragic, almost poetic symphony of sacrifice and valor. The Aurora's vengeance fought not merely to survive, but to carry the legacy of a fallen civilization forward. In that moment, as Captain Blackwood stood resolute against the storm, every flash of exploding debris and every spark of light in the darkness became an ode to those who had dared to dream of a better tomorrow. As the enemy's lines began to falter under the relentless onslaught of strategic brilliance and indomitable spirit, the tide of battle slowly turned. The crew's unwavering resolve had carved a fragile path through the chaos, a path that, though laden with scars and loss, illuminated the possibility of hope even in the face of despair. In the heart of this galactic inferno, as the battle reached its fevered pitch, Captain Orion Blackwood felt the weight of his responsibility like never before. With every maneuver, every sacrifice, and every burst of defiant energy, he steered his crew toward a future where, even amid the ruins of conflict, the human spirit could still rise to defy the darkness. In the aftermath of the relentless onslaught, the battlefield of stars and shattered metal fell into a fleeting, mournful silence. The Aurora's vengeance bore the scars of war like badges of honor, its hull pockmarked by explosions and its once pristine corridors now steeped in the weight of loss. Amid the dim glow of emergency lights, Captain Orion Blackwood stood on the bridge, his gaze sweeping over the damage reports and silent figures of his crew, each scar a testament to a sacrifice that could not be undone. The atmosphere on board was heavy with a somber reverence for those lost. In a quiet corner of the warship's infirmary, Lieutenant Mara paused beside a fallen comrade, her hand trembling as she traced the insignia on his uniform. The loss was palpable, a silent lament that resonated through every crevice of the ship. In the soft murmur of whispered condolences and the measured steps of grief, each soul on the Aurora's vengeance shared in the burden of sacrifice, their courage now intertwined with sorrow. Orion retreated to his private quarters, a space cluttered with memories, a holodeck displaying images of past victories and a collection of mementos from earlier, brighter days. Here, the weight of command pressed upon him most acutely. He replayed the battle's echoes in his mind, the desperate maneuvers, the agonized cries over intercoms, and the raw determination etched into every command. Each memory was a ghost, a lingering reminder that victory was measured not just in tactical success, but in the cost borne by the human spirit. A ripple of determination coursed through the captain as he prepared for the next phase of their grim journey. He emerged from his solitude with renewed resolve, calling his senior officers to a gathering in the command chamber. "We honor the fallen not with despair, but with the strength to rise again," he declared, his voice resolute despite the tremors of grief that lay beneath. "Their sacrifice must fuel our will to persevere, to protect the legacy of humanity that we still carry." In the wake of the fierce battle, the Aurora's vengeance slowly began repairs. Engineers worked tirelessly in the ship's guts, their sweat and whispered prayers mingling with the hum of regenerative systems. Amid the clamor of repair crews, every clang and spark felt like a heartbeat, a reaffirmation that even in the shadow of loss, life and hope could endure. The process was arduous, each repair a meditation on the cost of survival, but in every rivet set and panel restored, there was a silent vow that no sacrifice would be in vain. The captain's heart, heavy yet unyielding, resonated with the silent song of those who had fallen. In the quiet moments before dawn, as the warship drifted in the cold void of space, Orion allowed himself a moment of introspection. He closed his eyes and listened to the distant hum of the engines, a lullaby for lost souls and a promise of future battles. In that solitary silence, he made a promise to his crew and to every life sacrificed. Their memories would not fade into the darkness, but serve as a guiding light, steering them through the tumultuous journey ahead. As the Aurora's vengeance prepared to set course once more into the perilous expanse, every member of the crew carried within them the echoes of sacrifice, a reminder that in the crucible of war, even the deepest wounds could forge a renewed determination. And in the resolute eyes of Captain Orion Blackwood, there burned the unwavering spark of hope, poised to ignite the flames of a future built on valor, remembrance, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. As the cosmic battlefield roiled with fury and fire, the Aurora's vengeance surged forward into the heart of conflict. The stars themselves seemed to shudder in anticipation, their light blurring into streaks as if time itself were bending around the imminent clash. Every sensor, every flickering display on the bridge, confirmed that the enemy had reached a critical mass. Now was the moment when destinies would be rewritten. Captain Orion Blackwood's gaze, steely and unwavering, fixed on the chaos unfolding outside the armored windows of his command center. The enemy fleet, a relentless swarm of angular, ominous vessels, was converging with a deadly precision. Yet amid the turmoil, a daring plan began to crystallize. A plan to seize the initiative and force Admiral Zorth into the open. All stations, prepare for counter-assault, Blackwood bellowed, his voice echoing with the authority of a man who had weathered countless storms. Focus all fire on their command cruiser. We strike at its core and break their chain of command. The order was met with a flurry of determined responses. Lieutenant Mara, her fingers dancing over the controls with the speed of thought, confirmed the target lock. Target acquired, Captain. Weapons systems primed and ready, she reported, her tone reflecting a mix of resolve and quiet determination. In the heat of the fray, the ship shuddered as an explosion rocked one of the enemy's flanking vessels. Debris cascaded into the void, a deadly reminder that each moment was a battle against extinction. Blackwood maneuvered the warship with an artistry born of desperation and hope, weaving through a hailstorm of laser fire and plasma bolts. Every evasive maneuver, every calculated risk, was a step towards shifting the balance in their favor. Then, in the midst of chaos, came the moment of reckoning. A sleek, enemy command cruiser, a floating fortress of fire and ambition, loomed ahead, its presence a dark beacon of Admiral Zorth's ruthless power. Blackwood's heart pounded as he directed the warship into an intercept course. "Prepare for boarding," he ordered, his voice low and resolute, knowing that a direct confrontation was imminent. In a daring move, decoy drones and a contingent of elite Marines detached from the main hull, streaking towards the enemy vessel like comets of rebellion. In a brilliant exchange of strategy and audacity, the Marines clashed with enemy boarding parties amidst the eerie silence of the void. The bridge of the enemy cruiser became a battleground where every step, every exchange of gunfire, echoed with the weight of fate. High above the melee, in the commanding presence of his flagship, Admiral Zorth monitored the unfolding events. His cold eyes flickered with a mixture of anger and grudging respect as he listened to intercepted communications from Blackwood. Through the crackle of the comlink came the captain's measured, almost poetic declaration. "You claim dominion over the void, Zorth, but power without honor is a hollow victory. Today, we reclaim our legacy." For a heartbeat, the enemy admiral's silence was palpable, a quiet before the next storm. Then, in a voice that was as lethal as the weapons at his command, Zorth responded, "Your defiance is admirable, Blackwood, but misguided. The universe bends to the will of power, not the dreams of rebels." His words dripped with disdain and an unyielding certainty that his conquest was inevitable. The ensuing moments were a frenetic blend of raw emotion and calculated might. Blackwood's tactical genius shone as he orchestrated maneuvers that confounded the enemy. With each precise command, the Aurora's vengeance carved its path through the enemy formation, turning the tide of battle. Explosions lit the void like the bursting of dying stars, and amidst this cosmic inferno, the captain and his crew fought with a ferocity that belied their battered state. As the battle raged on, it became clear that the relentless assault on the enemy's command cruiser was taking its toll. Systems aboard the enemy vessel began to falter under the concentrated fire, and for a moment, the relentless advance of Zorth's fleet wavered. In the brief stillness that followed, Blackwood's voice resonated through every channel. "This is our moment. Hold the line, and let our resolve be the beacon that guides us to victory." In that charged moment, as the fate of entire worlds hung in the balance, the turning tide of the battle was undeniable. The crew of the Aurora's Vengeance fought with every ounce of strength and spirit they possessed. Each explosion, each deflected missile, and every bold maneuver by the captain chipped away at the enemy's relentless force. The once inevitable march of despair was now met with a surge of human ingenuity and courage, a defiant roar against the overwhelming darkness. The turning tide was not just a shift in battle, it was a statement. In the midst of a universe that had grown cold and unyielding, the human spirit, embodied in Captain Orion Blackwood and his steadfast crew, was reclaiming its rightful place. Every life, every sacrifice, was converging into a moment of incandescent defiance, a promise that, no matter the odds, hope would continue to shine even in the darkest reaches of space. In the quiet aftermath of the cosmic tempest, the void once again softened into a serene tapestry of scattered starlight. The Aurora's vengeance, though battered and scarred by the tumultuous battle, sailed steadily into the silence, its wounds slowly healing under the steady hands of a determined crew. Amid the lingering echoes of war, a fragile new hope began to take shape, a testament to humanity's unyielding spirit in the face of despair. On the bridge, Captain Orion Blackwood gazed out at the horizon of distant nebulae and emerging constellations, each a shimmering promise of a future reborn. The harsh flashes of combat had faded into gentle glimmers, and now the stars whispered secrets of resilience and renewal. With every measured breath, the captain felt the weight of the past giving way to the light of new beginnings. Across the ship, the crew moved with a quiet efficiency born of shared sacrifice and hard-won unity. Engineers and medics worked side by side to mend the fractured systems, their every effort echoing a silent vow to honor the fallen. In every bolt tightened, every circuit reawakened, there pulsed the unspoken belief that life could emerge from the ruins of conflict. Lieutenant Mara, still marked by the scars of battle, stood before a viewport, her eyes tracing the slowly emerging outline of a distant human colony, a beacon of hope amid the darkness. Her voice, gentle yet resolute, carried across the quiet corridors. We fought not just for survival, but for the right to rebuild. Let this be the spark that ignites a future where our people flourish again. Her words resonated deeply within the hearts of all who heard them, a reminder that every sacrifice, every loss, had paved the way for a rebirth of courage and determination. The captain, listening from his command station, allowed himself a rare smile, a quiet affirmation that, despite the scars and the sorrow, humanity would rise anew. In a solemn gathering in the central hall, the crew paid tribute to their comrades whose lives had been woven into the fabric of their shared struggle. Flickering candles and holographic memorials lit the space with soft, reverent light. Here, in the gentle embrace of remembrance, they found the strength to look forward to the promise of restoration and the endless possibilities of the cosmos. As the Aurora's vengeance charted a course toward the distant colony, every member of its crew carried with them the lessons of the battle, the memories of the fallen, and the enduring belief that hope could be nurtured even in the bleakest of nights. The captain's voice, steady and inspiring, filled the comms one last time before they reached the sanctuary of the human enclave. Today, we leave behind a war-torn past and step boldly into the future. Our legacy will be one of resilience, unity, and the eternal quest for peace in a universe that is ever-changing. In that transcendent moment, as the warship glided through the cosmos like a phoenix reborn, the promise of a new dawn illuminated the darkness. The stars themselves seemed to celebrate this metamorphosis, twinkling with an assurance that even in the deepest shadows, light endures. The legacy of humanity was not defined by the battles fought or the losses endured, but by the relentless hope that every ending gives rise to a new beginning. The universe, vast and mysterious, awaited the unfolding of this renewed journey, a journey where every heart beat with the rhythm of defiance, and every soul shone with the light of a dawning legacy.